Hannibal here. Survivor Series evening. It just finished from Vancouver, British Columbia. Let's get into the results. This was not a pay-per-view that to me had a lot of buzz to it, and I certainly wasn't that interested in it. I actually totally forgot that it was in Vancouver, and it actually finished like earlier because they're on LA time, West Coast time. But I see that it's over, and I've read the results, so let's go through them. They were at the Rogers Centre in Vancouver, Canada. First pay-per-view there in a long time. Hot city for wrestling. They sold 17,249 tickets. The capacity listed for hockey is almost 20,000. So they actually didn't sell out, but tickets were extremely expensive for this from all reports that I've read. And officially, even though like the place can actually hold nearly 20,000, they're claiming there was only 39 tickets still available. So who knows? No blood that I could see in this, which kind of takes away from the whole cage matches scenarios, in my opinion. I like to see a little blood in cage matches, and it doesn't have to be double blood, but the whole point of a cage match is it's supposed to be gruesome. Let's go through the result. Team Rhea won the women's War Games. No surprise there. Rhea Ripley is the hottest woman in wrestling right now as far as popularity goes. Here's something I don't agree with, and I feel bad for LA Knight. I don't know if they did this because Survivor Series was in Vancouver, where there's a lot of Japanese and Asian people, or what, but Shinsei Nakamura defeated LA Knight to become the new US champion. LA Knight was so over not too long ago and was challenging for the main world title not too long ago. And like he had a buzz about him. People were talking about him. I feel like, there might be some buzz about him. I don't know. I feel like his buzz is gone. I'm not saying he's not one of the more popular guys in WWE, but I feel he doesn't have any buzz anymore. But Nakamura seems to me, Nakamura hardly has any buzz at all. But they put him over LA Knight. I noticed once LA Knight signed a new contract, at least he's set for a long time. I've met him in Impact. I like him. I've done a little interview with him. I wish him the best. I know he worked hard for his position, but it seems like now he's under long-term contract. They don't feel like they have to push him that hard, and I feel like he's lost his momentum. And Nakamura, I don't think is going to be I think Nakamura, honestly, I'm not saying he's a bad wrestler or anything, but beyond the time when he first came into WWE, I never felt like he had the same buzz either. So I don't agree with that title change. Braun Breaker defeated Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser to retain the IC title. One thing I notice whenever I see Braun Breaker with Sheamus is considerably taller than Braun Breaker. I mean, Sheamus just re-signed for a long-term contract, and they're pushing Braun Breaker. They should have been giving him a much harder push all the way through. But, he won that. That's no surprise. Gunther defeated Damian Priest. No surprise. I don't know how they can still call that a world title when Cody just beat Gunther clean. How am I still supposed to consider that a world title? And it wasn't too long ago that Sami Zayn was getting wins over Gunther. And I hear that Goldberg's probably going to face Gunther at the Royal Rumble. I sure as hell hope Goldberg beats him. To me, with how skinny Gunther is, he's just hard to take seriously. He's one of the better wrestlers they have, and I like how hard he chops and stuff. But to me, I wish they would eliminate a title and make the world. I don't know. I just don't like there being two world titles. There's a lot of titles in WWE. I think 19 titles, less than AEW 23. But I don't like that second world title. The OG Bloodline wins the men's War Game match. I don't think anyone is surprised at that. Matthew loved the event. I'm glad you did. I like more surprises in wrestling, and I found like there was nothing that really stood out and made me want to watch this. Because other than Nakamura beating LA Knight, I'm not surprised by any of the results. But I'm glad you liked it. And for the people that get it on Peacock and pay like $5 a month for Peacock, why not? I do have Netflix now. I may start trying to watch the pay-per-views in January when they start airing free on Netflix, if you have a Netflix subscription. But I don't know. AEW does like, I think their last pay-per-view was 5 hours and 20 minutes. It seems like this WWE is trying to keep theirs around 3 hours. I do like that. Cool that it's in Vancouver. To my knowledge, they haven't been to Canada for a very long time, and they're not coming back to Canada until next March at the old Sky Dome, which Vancouver's arena is called Rogers Arena. The Sky Dome is now called Rogers Center, which you could, in theory, hold over 60,000 people. I mean, The Rock might be back around that time. Who knows? They're trying to say it's going to be John Cena's last match. For a sec, when they could, and I'm not saying they're doing bad business, because I'm sure that they charge so much for this. This will be the biggest gate in the history of Vancouver. But like, they couldn't even sell out. They couldn't even sell out Vancouver at the ticket prices they're charging. Which to me, Survivor Series is a bigger match than whatever they call another cage pay-per-view. Whatever it's called, Elimination Chamber in Toronto. To me, Survivor Series is a bigger pay-per-view than Elimination Chamber. However, if they're not running any of the markets around Toronto, I guess the theory is people are going to drive. They're going to be so desperate to watch WWE that they're going to drive in from other cities to watch. I can't sit and watch 5 hours of wrestling either. When AEW gave me free tickets to the Dynamite in Ottawa. By the way, I think AEW's tour bombed, their last Canadian tour, because they haven't run Canada forever. And they lied about who was going to be on every single show with multiple people. I'm sure they'll come back to certain cities at some point, but I mean, it must have really bombed to have I think it's been months and months and months since AEW has come to Canada. But I mean, I stayed for the the tapings before Collision of Ring of Honor, then Collision. That was 3 hours. Then they wanted us to stay after to watch more Ring of Honor. No, thank you. When I left, I would say about 1,000 other people left, and they only had 3,000 in the building, which was a 20,000 seat arena. But we're not here to talk about AEW. Let me know your thoughts on Survivor Series in the comments. As I said, the only thing I'm shocked at is Nakamura beating poor LA Knight. I mean, I don't know why you would do that unless that was part of Nakamura's deal. I know his contract was up recently too, or it's coming up. Maybe they don't want him to go anywhere. But to me, like, Nakamura he's not as over as LA Knight, even though LA Knight's on the downward swing too. Braun Breaker, I've said it a million times, he has the most upside of any of the younger wrestlers. I just wish they'd brought him in and not put chinks in his armor so early. But they're the experts of getting people over. He'll still get over. I just think he shouldn't have had losses yet. He's had too many losses. They could have given him a stronger push, and he'd be over more now than he is. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.